Anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder that ravages across the world and affects people of all ages and races. This disease is characterized as being when a person starves themselves in hopes of being thin. The most prominent symptoms of anorexia nervosa are a dramatic weight loss, denial of hunger, irritability, and lots of exercise. Because of the lack of nutrients coming into the body, anorexia nervosa can cause multiple health impediments on those affected, and if not treated, can cause irreversible damage to the body and even death. The disease is extremely complex, and there are no two people who go through the same struggles and have the same symptoms while fighting the disease. Although anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder that stems from various biological and social forces, there are many different treatment approaches to help cure the various men and women around the world affected by this disease. There are many biological factors that can lead one to anorexia nervosa, and they can stem from various different reasons. One of the most known biological causes of anorexia to doctors is its inheritance to run in families. According to Bridget Engel, individuals who have a mother or sister affected by anorexia nervosa are 12 times more likely to develop the disease. The study by Engel also stated that identical twins are more likely to have anorexia nervosa compared to fraternal twins and general siblings. Due to this finding, pairs of twins with this disorder are being analyzed to see if they share a common genetic makeup that has a correlation to their anorexia nervosa. Aside from inheritance, an abnormality in the HPA, or the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal gland, can play a role in the formation of anorexia nervosa. The gland releases neurotransmitters that regulate hunger, thirst, and mood. If there is a flaw in this gland, it can cause a person to no longer feel a fulfillment from eating food, therefore making room for anorexia nervosa. With time, this leads a person to become disconnected with their food intake and push them further into the other symptoms that associate with anorexia nervosa. The third type of biological factor that we will cover is an individual having a negative energy balance. This is characterized by one burning more calories than they take in. The first few times an individual does this, there may not be a difference in the quality of their workout, but after repeated times, significant weakness sets in. Many individuals who suffer from negative energy balance push past the hunger they are feeling whilst working out and use it to push themselves harder. In my interview with my coach, Coco Buck, she told me that she would restrict the amount of calories she was consuming before going to the gym for up to 5 hours every day. Social forces are one of the leading causes of an increase of anorexia nervosa, especially in females. Picture the typical Hollywood movie star: tiny waist, flat stomach, skinny legs, and toned arms. The same movie star with repetitive bouts in the box office can cause viewers to question why they do not look like her and make them feel very envious. This does not just affect the female audience. There are plenty of male movie stars with chiseled abs and muscular legs, which can cause the same pang of jealousy and envy in their male viewers. This trend does not just affect the population in the United States, as there has been more exposure of Hollywood movies in developing countries. The citizens of these countries take notice of how the movie stars are highly attracted to, and the effects that follow are the same as the Western civilizations. There is a theory that goes hand in hand with social factors that can push one to anorexia nervosa. The social comparison theory, according to Caleb Black, is threefold, with the first step being an individual wanting to better themselves, the second step being the individual comparing themselves to others, and the final step being the individual comparing themselves with individuals that are similar to them. This drive for improvement could lead an individual to have a desire for a perfect body shape as they are competing against similar people to them, which can lead to anorexia nervosa. Coco Buck, a former Olympic trials qualifier, told me how she felt trapped to this theory when she stopped swimming. She was constantly comparing her body shape to those of current swimmers and felt she was not fitting in enough. with them. And this eventually pushed her to having anorexia nervosa while excessively eating. Although there are many proven social factors that have the ability to increase the chances of one developing anorexia nervosa, there is a debate if they are the sole cause. Because of this, some believe that there is not enough evidence to directly correlate the increase of anorexia nervosa in our population. This is wrong, simply due to the major shift in the ideal female body. Before and during the early 20th century, the ideal female body was fuller and more curvaceous body, which represented strength. Now, in the 21st century, the ideal female body is very skinny and bony. This is due to the fact that over time, skinny bodies have been promoted and accepted into society. Women who have not necessarily adapted to the sharp change could feel self-conscious of themselves, therefore pushing themselves to the point of an eating disorder, such as anorexia nervosa. Even though there are many problems that arise in the body and mind with anorexia nervosa, there are many different treatment options that are available. These treatment options are suggested based on the symptoms and mental health the person who is going through anorexia nervosa displays. There are so many different kinds of treatment options available because not everyone reacts to the same treatment, so it could be more effective for one person but does not work on another. Oftentimes, a patient with anorexia nervosa will go through multiple treatment options and go through different treatment periods depending on if their disorder has a relapse. Below, we will go over some of the most widely used treatment options for anorexia nervosa. One of the most widely used forms of treatment for anorexia nervosa is the cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This type of therapy aims at helping a person rid themselves of unhelpful or unhealthy habits of thinking, feeling, and behaving about the food they are putting into their bodies. This treatment is very effective because it helps people who have anorexia nervosa to change their thought patterns about their relationship with food and regain memory about how important it is for their bodies. This therapy follows a 3-step process that includes the behavioral phase, the cognitive phase, and the maintenance and relapse prevention phase. During the behavioral phase, a plan is formed to help stabilize eating and end all symptoms. During the cognitive stage, the patient is taught positive affirmations about how their eating disorder does not define them. And in the final stage, there is a heavy concentration on the reduction of triggers that could provoke a relapse in the anorexia nervosa. The second treatment option that is very popular today is residential treatment. Residential treatment is when a patient goes and lives in a facility that takes care of them and rehabilitates them with the end goal of ending their eating disorder. Coco Buck told me that during her time when she had anorexia nervosa, she was in a 60-day residential treatment program and that it helped her because all of her resources were right in one place and the staff did everything they could to help her end her anorexia nervosa. There are many benefits available to a patient in residential treatment, such as living in a controlled environment, effective therapy, and better monitored treatments. The residential programs are very effective because they limit the patients from the risks of continuing on with their anorexia nervosa and are fully dedicated to helping them rid their disorder. Anorexia nervosa is a very complex disease, and there are many reasons for its cause in so many people around the world. These factors that increase its likelihood in the population come from many different sources, such as biological factors and thinking what is acceptable in society. Luckily, we have highlighted some of the most important treatment options that are very effective in the banishing of anorexia nervosa. When asked on advice for other men and women suffering from anorexia nervosa, Coco Buck replied with, "Speak up. Finding others with the same issue as you helps you remember that nothing is wrong with you." So, it is always important for these patients to remember that there are other people with anorexia nervosa and that there are so many different treatment options available for them.